And welcome into another episode of Shark Puppet Racing. He's Paul Jensen, I'm Mia O'Brien, and today we're going to learn how to not drive the Australian Grand Prix. So, Paul, what's our course looking like today?
Alright, this is the Albert Park Circuit in Australia, first round of the Formula 1 season, and the first thing you'll run into in the F1 2012 video game, street circuit, very tight, not a lot of room to make mistakes, narrow road, not a lot of runoff. But there are two very nice straights, one on the start-finish straight and one after turn 2, so you can definitely get some good speed going through there, but watch out for turns 1, 9, and 15. They are slower than you think, they are tighter than you think, and you gotta turn more than you think you have to through those. Very easy to make mistakes there.
And so let's take it right to Melbourne and meet up with our first amateur racer, Chris Zachariah. He's going to be driving a Lotus today, and you mentioned turn 15, Paul, and right from the starting gate, we see Zachariah really struggling with that turn 15.
Yep, hasn't even started his timed lap, so getting off before you're even on the clock, not what you want to do. You want to have that momentum going down that straight. Here's Robbie Zakes in the bright red Ferrari, getting it wrong in turn 1, just carrying way too much speed off that straight into the gravel, and that's bad because once you make one mistake around here, you start feeling like you have to make up for it, and you start doing really stupid things. For example, you brake way too late into turn 3 like Robbie's doing right there, and he's into the gravel, into the wall, not having a good time.
And suddenly it's mistake after mistake after mistake. Chris does take turn 3 pretty well, is able to navigate his way around there, but then he goes off at turn number 4, nearly ending up in the wall, but is able to escape that.
Alright, here we have Greg Schultz driving around in the Red Bull. Greg, a little bit more experience than the other guys, has played some Forza Motorsport, no F1 experience though, but does show us how to take turn 9. Don't get too greedy, just take the line, take the speed, and preserve that momentum into turn 10.
Robbie takes turn 9 too fast, and he does end up spinning out into the wall on this one, and, really unfortunate that he's not able to really maintain control, because he was able to avoid the gravel, but got a little bit too eager and ended up on the other side into the wall.
These are slick tires, so once you're into that grass, you're losing all grip. Chris Zachariah also having a bad time in turn 9, not nearly as bad as Robbie. Now, if we look at what Chris is doing here, we see that when he gets to turn 9, he's in the middle of the road. You want to be wide out to the left there. Give yourself as much room as you can to actually make that turn and not end up off the track.
Greg almost losing his car in turns 14 and 16, but he is able to finish strong, a personal best of 1:31.7. Really the only clean lap we would have here in Melbourne on the day.
Oh yeah, and there's Greg cutting it a little fine with the pit entry there on the exit of turn 16, but overall a very good lap. Very obvious that Greg kind of knew what he was doing there.
Robbie in the gravel on turn 14 and ends up turning into the grass on turn 15 and then into the wall. You said it earlier, Paul, and it's one mistake after another, just keeps leading to even more mistakes.
Yep, and Robbie's taking the wrong approach there. He's trying to correct with more throttle, not what you want to do when you don't have any grip. Chris Zachariah, though, having a much better time of turn 15 at the end of his first timed lap, and manages to get across the line, personal best time of 1 minute 35.1. Not quite as good as Greg, but still a decent lap.
And speaking of Greg, as we pick it up now in lap 2, a little bit overconfident after that first lap, the only clean lap as I mentioned on the day. On the first turn, he ends up in the gravel.
Yep, just getting a little greedy, feeling like he can push it a little bit more now that he's got that one good lap, and just going wrong into the dust in turn 4, not having a good time, and just kind of loses it going around the rest of the circuit.
Robbie having a good lap until his spin out in turn 12, nearly flips his car over, and up until that point, again, was doing very good, was going slower into his turns, but, you just really can't take those turns too fast.
Ooh, that is just painful to watch right into the wall there. Greg Schultz cutting the corner and running wide at the same time coming into turn 15. That takes work and talent, my friends, and very nearly into the pit lane as well.
In lap 3, pick it up with Robbie, puts one wheel on the grass after turn 2, does keep the car from crashing, however, learned a little bit from lap 2 and some of his earlier mistakes there.
Yes, that was a good catch and a good save. Ruins your time a little bit, but not as bad as it could have been. Chris Zachariah, haven't heard from him in a while because really his only problem is turn 9, and it is just consistently his nemesis around here. Just cannot get the braking right for that.
Meanwhile, Greg on pace to improve his best time until it comes time for turn 12. Runs wide into this one. Again, you mentioned it earlier, Paul. Really have to stick closer to the right-hand side and stay on the track, but takes that one too wide and ends up in the gravel.
Yep, manages not to spin, but not helping his time there at all. Robbie Zakes running into the grass at turn 15 again, treating it just like an off-road rally race. I mean, why not at this point? Doesn't spin, which is good because he does manage to get a personal best time of 1 minute 40.8. Not as good as the other guys, but consistently improving lap after lap, which is what you want to do when you're a rookie around here.
Meanwhile, Chris barely saves it in turn 15 and cannot improve on his best time, but he is able to finish this one in time.
Yep, finishes with the car intact, more or less. A little bit of gravel in the intake fans, but you know, it happens. So that's it for us from Albert Park in Australia. Thanks for watching How Not to Drive the Australian Grand Prix. If you feel like you can do better than our drivers, you probably can. So we urge you to go check out Codemasters Formula 1 games at codemasters.com and formula1game.com. That's it for Shark Puppet Racing for now. We'll be back next time with How Not to Drive the Spanish Grand Prix.